Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. Okay, knock, knock, knock. Let's see what the tea leaves have to say. Well, we have immediately, before I even turn this thing, pull it away, anything like that, I see that we have a large heart right here, kind of the outline of one. And then we have this heart right here, and it's, oh my goodness, it's so thick. Look at how many leaves are in the middle there. So that is a very well formed heart. So I would say that there's some aspect of love on the mind. I mean, it has to be, right? We have just a lot of hearts going on here. Before we get into those, I'm gonna pull this away and kind of I want to look at it. Okay. This is interesting. Okay, so I want to talk about this one first, for sure, because we have the heart here, but it's also, it seems like it is attached to this right here, and this reminds me of the semicolon. So this is, you know, in a sentence, it's like it's a pause basically, but. And I don't know exactly what is the difference between a comma and a semicolon. I don't know. I don't really know. I should get my phone out and look. But what I do know, and this is what's important about it, I feel like just completely, I can't believe I can't think of what that actually means. If you know, please tell me in the comments. Let me know what is the functionality of a semicolon exactly. I know what a colon is, and I know what a comma is, but yeah, semicolon. So anyhow, I want to, the symbolism of the semicolon, which is kind of a tattoo design that people have. And this is related to somebody who is a survivor of unaliving themselves, or has been affected in some way. And I think it's, you know, if somebody has survived, it's really kind of like a break in the sentence, the break in the life, but then beginning anew, right? So the next chapter after going through this crisis. Okay, so with the heart and this being this in the comma, I have to think that maybe this has to do with some kind of situation that arose. Maybe this is something that has to do with you or a person that you have a great and deep love for. It might also be something that you have connected on. Maybe you both have been through something along the lines of, you know, being a survivor yourself and them being a survivor. And you know, of course we don't, you can't, that's not the only thing that two people will relate on and, you know, be successful together. But I think that sometimes when you have, I guess, similar traumas, or at least you have the ability to empathize versus kind of sympathize with somebody, because you kind of have some understanding of the depth of pain these kinds of things involve, or you know, maybe kind of some understanding of what leads up to these kinds of situations. And then, you know, being a survivor of such a thing is a unique position to be in. And like, I don't think my husband would be upset for me saying this, because he, you know, in his videos, if you shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot, if you've seen his videos, he has this tattoo, and we're both survivors of a situation like this, obviously separately, but you know, when we met and we both connected on this level, you know, there's an understanding there that maybe you wouldn't have with other people, I guess, is what I'm saying. So I think that there's some amount of bonding through this. This doesn't have to be romantic. I mean, this could be a good friend. This could be a family member. You know, I think that definitely I get the feeling that this is a very deep connection. Okay. And there's just, I feel like you know, in life, we encounter few people that we truly understand, or feel that truly understand us. And when that is mutual, that's even more rare. And we're lucky if we have 1, 2, 3 people like that our whole lives. So I think that this is definitely somebody that is so important to you, okay? And it kind of, I was not expecting this to come up, I mean, at all. I never know, obviously, what the symbols are going to be, but I kind of sometimes, especially because I pull a card, and I'll just show you today, is the 4 of Discs from the Thoth deck, which is the power card. But as you can see, it also is kind of a castle or a temple, a fortress that is surrounded by kind of a moat, right? And it's heavily fortified. So we'll kind of talk about what this means. But, you know, pulling a card and just going off of kind of the feelings I have before the reading starts. Not always, but sometimes I'll have little visions or kind of little intuitions about maybe where some of this is going to go. And I wasn't expecting this to come up, but it does make sense in a way to me. It feels like this, I mean, obviously was, however this played out, however this tone of situation, if it was you, if it was somebody close to you, you know, if it is something that, well, you know, I guess what I'll share is that within my own family, my origin family, my blood family, there is a history of a lot of unaliving yourself and just mental health issues in general. But so I think that, you know, sometimes you kind of grow up in a life, in a family, in an environment where this is not a hidden thing. This is something that people talk about. This is something that we know to be you know, something that people do. I mean, a reality of being alive. And now it took me a long time to grow, you know, I grew up and became an adult and realized that not everybody's family is like that. Not everybody lives a life where they know, you know, 1 or 2 or 10 people who have gone through these kinds of things. Some people never experience it. They're only passively around any kind of, you know, situation like that, or know somebody or whatever, which I didn't know. That, you know, I thought it was just something that everybody dealt with. So I have a feeling, though, that you probably have experienced some of this directly with either somebody in your family, somebody you grew up with, somebody you know, maybe a loved one, a partner, maybe one of your, you know, God forbid, one of your children. That's terrible to even conceive something like that, but you know, it could be. And you know, that breaks me. I mean, it literally makes me want to cry thinking about that for anybody. But I think that this has, you know, been a defining point in your life for sure. It is something that has almost made you kind of a melancholy person, I think. I think that you also have really cultivated a sense of carefulness with others. You're very attentive to people's emotions, their movements, their behaviors, you know, how their emotions change, their reactions, this kind of thing. And I think that you're very careful with how you speak to people, how you treat people. I think that you're very respectful, but even more than just being respectful, I think that you're slow to engage. Okay, and I think part of that is self-preservation, and part of that is just that it's hard for you to connect with other people because you've had some amount of, you know, trauma. And it's heavy. I think it's really heavy. But on the other side of this, I think you also have the deepest capacity to love and extreme loyalty. I think that you really are all about honoring those you let in. When somebody breaches your walls, when you open those gates for them, that's a person that is in your life for good, and you will not betray that. Okay. I think, though, that you have spent a lot of time, and this is where this 4 of Discs really comes in. You spent a lot of time building a place to kind of wall yourself off. And it hasn't been, I don't think it's even necessarily always been a conscious decision. I want to look at this one next. But I think that you spend a lot of time really kind of focusing on, you know, your work, making sure you have the resources you need, keeping your house together, having everything run smoothly like you like it. You know, just, I think the tedium to some degree, but you enjoy I think you enjoy order in your life, and you spend a lot of time looking at the fine details. And this takes up a lot of your mental bandwidth and just the time that you have during the day in your waking life. and you don't have a lot of time to socialize. I don't think that you necessarily spend a lot of time with other people outside of work or family. But I don't think you're sad about it either. I think that probably, you know, you're fairly okay with just doing things the way that you do them. You're very powerful in your own kingdom. Okay, you really do run your own home. You really do have a position within your family. You are definitely somebody who is trustworthy, gets things done. People come to you for advice if they need help with something. They can rely on you. Okay, now I want to look at this one. This looks like a dog, and it's looking up here, and this almost looks to me, it's interesting because it's in the, excuse me, it's in this kind of spiritual zone, and it really, to me, looks so much like a angel in the sky. Okay, and this looks like, I feel very much that this is kind of that guard dog that you keep at your front door, right? The gatekeeper for you. And I think that, you know, this fierce beast that you have really looking over your wellness is oftentimes, I think kind of, I think about like a cat staring at the wall, you know, and you're like, what are you looking at? Or like a dog that's looking off into, you know, the abyss a little bit, and you're like, oh, is there like a ghost in the house? What do they see? What are they looking at? What do they see that I don't see? But I think that quite literally it is kind of spirit, you know, really working together with this protective being that you have either manifested and have an actual animal, a dog or some kind of protective cat, or my cats did protect my house. So but even if it isn't really like a guard dog, you know, literally, animals keep the balance in our homes, and even the animals that are in our yards, the ones that we live beside. I like to call them our backyard spirits. And, you know, we pay the toll of their protection and their good favor by giving them seeds and things in our yard and planting things that they'll like. But I think, you know, really spirit and this guardian angel is really working together with this animal. And this could be also a spirit animal or like a totem animal. But working together to keep you safe on a spiritual level, but also within your emotions, your psyche, and on that physical realm too. I think that you really have, well, you, like we talked about, you have a very fortified home life and family life. And I think part of that is that you really have honored yourself and spirit in such a way that you are being looked after, you know, and to a degree that, you know, I think that you often sleep well at night. I don't think you're losing any sleep worrying too much. Okay. And I think this works for you. I think on it, you know, sometimes people will say that, you know, being kind of fixated on your security or, you know, aligning your life in such a way that it's perfection and this and that, it, you know, detracts from other parts of your being. You're missing out on certain things. It's almost kind of neurotic or whatever. But I think personally, if you are able to enjoy the process of upkeeping that foundational stuff that you know, in the physical, in the emotional, psychic, mental health, and into the spirit, into metaphysical, you know, your interactions with the God source, all those things. If you enjoy the practice of keeping those things, creating those things, and, you know, for me, I like to call it temple keeping, building your interior life, keeping your home in line, your physical home in line with that, and the way that you live, your routines, the way that you eat, the way that, you know, whatever, just your lifestyle choices in line, all those things in line. If it seems particular to other people, oh wow. If it's working for you, good. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't sense any kind of, you know, things being missed, okay? But what I do sense to some degree, okay, and I want to look at this. This is like a mermaid, okay? So we have the head and the arms, and it's kind of looking down at these little pieces. And I think of, you know, this kind of a very famous mermaid, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name on my video, I don't know, but a very famous Disney mermaid, we'll say, and she likes to collect shiny objects and keep them away, and they're very you know, beautiful and nostalgic, and you know, this is how she relates her memory, her emotional life into the physical by keeping these trinkets and, you know, tchotchkes and things. And I think that sometimes you can live in a very nostalgic place. I think that you're probably fairly sentimental. And I'm not saying like you're, you know, hoarding things. That's not what I mean. But I think that you do sometimes find yourself getting lost in these places of nostalgia. And I think that, you know, that's fine. We all do. What I do wonder, though, is does this part, though, detract from doing some of the other things that you might like to do? If you, you know, if you're always living in the past, or seeking to dwell in, you know, impressions, sensations that have already been, you know, I don't know, maybe you're not creating new memories, maybe, you know, you're lamenting things, and you know, and I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think through this really. And I wonder if maybe this has been detrimental to a romantic relationship you're in, or just you haven't been able to kind of get past an old one, somebody you're not with anymore, and you know, you haven't met anybody, and maybe you have just the smallest amount of desire to be with somebody, to have a new relationship, or to renew your relationship, to get past some of these old things. You know, and I think that a lot, you know, the world has just been very unstable for a lot of people these last years, and for a lot of us, especially those of us who are kind of homebodies. And I think, you know, with this four of discs and everything else we're looking at here, I wonder if you are not maybe somebody who is a little more introverted, a little more of a homebody, but because of the way the world has been, we have kind of, you know, been allotted this freedom to be just totally kind of centered around our homes or not having to venture too far out. You know, a lot of things are still remote for people, or we just really, I mean, for me personally, I had lost the desire to go too far out of my comfort zone anymore, because I got a taste of like the good life of just, you know, doing my thing, knowing what I like, and kind of hanging out around where I live, and, you know, not having to be involved with too many people. And, you know, that's been easier for me, and it works. And so I wonder if kind of that's, you know, where you've been, but at the same time, you know, maybe feeling like you'd like to have a partner, or, you know, you would like to have a companion, or you know, a new friend, somebody to be excited about, to talk, you know, check in with, and see how your days are going, and, you know, just chit chat about whatever, and maybe more than that. So, you know, I don't think that where you're at is so far into yourself that you are unable to venture out. I think that I believe that you probably are, you know, and I'm looking at this this one right here, and it looks to me like, I'm trying to think, it's not a water buffalo, but it's something similar. It's like a musk ox or something, but it's a large animal like this. Okay, so it's like some kind of ox, some kind of buffalo, maybe not necessarily a bison, but it is powerful. It is, you know, slow moving, but very thoughtful. You know, these kinds of animals are usually, wisdom is attributed to them. And, as I have said in other readings, especially when I get bison and such, these are animals that are so large that they move slowly because they burn so many calories, and they have to eat so much just to keep themselves, you know, going and staying in weight, and so on. So this is very much linked to, in symbolism, just having very intentional movements, very intentional actions. And I think that you are also very much like this. And I think that you're probably very, you know, socially adapted. And so it's not a matter of not being able to meet somebody. I think that you could. I think that really it's just getting past just not having enough of a desire. So I feel like when you want it to happen, it will. I mean, maybe not meeting the person immediately, I don't know. Unless you, you know, can kind of, you know, what is the word? Kind of magnetize your desires, or oh, the law of attraction, something like that. You can attract immediately what you want. Just put it out there and it comes right to you. And hey, you might be able to do that. But what I'm saying is, I think when you're ready to get out there, you will. And you'll know. I mean, you know yourself, and you know what you need. And I don't think you're very much lacking for anything. I think it's just hinges of things. And hey, we are going into a new season just in a few days here. And so if you're going into spring, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's going into fall. These are seasons of transition, right? And coupling up, or meeting somebody new to get to know, or, you know, having new friendships, somebody to do things with, and enjoy those seasons that are coming up. And I think that makes sense. You know, I think a lot of people have that feeling around the season. So either season. So I also wanted to point out this, I keep looking at this plane here. And it looks like an old school plane. Not necessarily like a jet plane or anything, but I think that, you know, there's going to be some movement. I think maybe you might even be taking a trip pretty soon. And maybe that's been on your mind. Maybe you'll take advantage of, you know, getting out and moving around and being out in the world, and, you know, be brave. Say hello to some new people. Get on one of those apps or whatever, and meet somebody, you know. Be careful, of course. Be mindful of your safety. Don't give out all your information or, you know, anything like that. Let people know where you're going, and all my mom advice here. But yeah, have some fun, I think. You know, just, I feel like you deserve that. And I'm just kind of looking over this one more time. I wanted to look at this because with this big heart that we saw at the beginning, I really kind of feel like I saw a face, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a surreal looking thing, and with the eye here, and then it kind of looks like a nose above it. I'm trying to, it almost kind of looks like the all-seeing eye here, down at the peak. Let me pull this out a little bit more. Yeah, that's interesting. So I feel like, just looking at that, and let me turn it over. I want to look and see what it looks like on this side. Kind of looks like a person looking down. I almost wonder if you're going through some kind of initiation process. And it looks like, and now that I'm looking at this, it kind of almost looks like a steer. Like a, or a bull, like a male cow. Could still be the bison or the water buffalo, or, but I wonder if you are going through some kind of initiation process, and if that is formal or not. That is interesting. I think that there's a heavy energy of Taurus. So I think that you are really getting into your some part of your education, and I'm actually looking at this up here. It looks like the 101, which if you have been to college or anything, there's, you know, that's like the base class. So of anything. So like philosophy 101 or basket weaving 101. So I wonder, you know, are you kind of, you know, a novice going into, you know, going through your initial initiatory processes? Are you kind of coming to some big awakenings? Have you maybe found a system that is of interest to you and you're getting involved with it socially? That would be interesting. You know, I think that, gosh, and with the Taurus relation, I wonder, I wonder. Because it might be Taurus, and it kind of almost makes me wonder if this is, oh, no. Yeah, so I would say maybe looking for somebody who is a Taurus in your life that has some kind of information for you. I think that somebody you can relate to. And this might be the person that you're going to link up with. This might also be the first person we are talking about. I feel like it just, you know, I really get this kind of narrative in my mind with this reading that you've really just been through a lot. You went through this big thing that happened maybe even a near-death experience, or witnessing somebody going through a near-death experience. It really brought you close to those borderlands, though. Very conscious in the death rites, okay? And I think that through this, you know, you've really gone into yourself. You've really worked on your life. You've really spent a lot of time refining how you live. I think that it has deepened relationships. You have connected with somebody who has a similar story, possibly. And I really think that something is going on right now that you are really going through an awakening, okay? And I think that that bull, that Taurus, that water buffalo, whatever it is, that's a big energy, big energy. But I think that you're also being protected, like we talked about with the angel and the dog on the doorstep. So you really have some big stuff going on here. Now, looking at this, I feel like there is a sense, I feel like it must be that there's some kind of big anniversary coming up, okay? Because I feel like, although you are usually pretty a buttoned up person emotionally, it feels like there's a lot of like watery emotions happening, okay? A lot of shifting, the tides coming in and out. There's a lot of, I feel like big feelings rolling over you at times, okay? But you're doing a lot of this privately. And I almost get a sense that you're almost like, I think about you laying in bed at night, just kind of weeping at times, you know, and, you know, I think that it's important for you to talk about some of this stuff. I don't know exactly what's causing all of this. I think some of it is the passage of time. Some of this maybe is, like we had talked about, wanting to connect with somebody. Maybe feelings of some loneliness. Okay. But I think all of this stuff is manageable. And I think that you also feel that way. And also, I just want to stop and say that I can't give advice for mental health stuff because I am not a professional. I'm not certified in anything. This is for entertainment. But I do want you to know that you're not alone. And if you feel like you need help in any way, you know, activate your support people. Call a therapist if you have one. If you need to find one, there are phone numbers in your area. In America, they have a number for mental health crises, or, you know, if you're feeling blue, it's 988. And please utilize any and all resources in your area. There's also NAMI.org, I believe, and that is the National Alliance for Mental Health, I think. I think that's what it is. But anyways, there are places that will help you find what you need. Okay, so you're not alone. But, you know, I think that definitely, I think that this stuff is passing. I think that, you know, these things feel so big, but I also think that, you know, they're in your quiet, private moments. And you're shifting into kind of getting out of yourself a little bit. And I think that that's going to help a lot. And I think, you know, going on this path of awakening to something, maybe some new kind of initiation, joining some kind of system or religion or philosophy, or, you know, whatever it is, maybe doing that or studying on your own. But, you know, there are ways to interact with people, find mentorship, that kind of thing. And I think that you've already got some of that in place. So you know that. And yeah, I think that, you know, just, I just can't stress enough, like, you know, just please keep talking to people. You know, I know it's easy to feel like you don't want to burden other people with your stuff, but I feel like it's so important to communicate to others what you need, and just checking in with other people, you know, helps a lot as well. And so, you know, I don't want to end on a kind of darker note, but, you know, I think all in all, things are not, you know, they're not bad. They're not, you know, always blissful either. But I think that you are a strong and content person for the most part, and that's wonderful. You have a lot of love. You have a lot of love in your life, and you have a lot of love to give. And, you know, that's very apparent, and you're resilient. Very resilient. So, I want to thank you. I'm always so honored to bring these messages to you and to spend this time with you. If you watch these videos, they resonate with you, please think about liking them. They help me get in the algorithm. And once I get to 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to start doing 2 videos a day. So if you're not subscribed, think about doing that as well. You can hit the little bell thing. It'll let you know when the videos come out. The next Capricorn should be in about 12 days. In the meantime, you can watch your other placements. And then other than that, please leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what that semicolon is. I'm going to go look it up probably and then forget again. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll talk to you again soon.